Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. You are dying every day that you're alive, and you will never be younger than you are right now. It's a sobering thing to think about, right? Now, it's almost like I guess one of those things that I want to go through with you guys today, but I guess, people think of it almost as a cliche, right? The whole live like today is the last day of your life, right? And then it's hard to put that into perspective, right? It really is something that you know, unless you've maybe had a close call or a near-death experience, it's very difficult to truly grasp how fragile life truly is, right? Now, this is not a test. This is, as far as we know, the one and only shot that you get, that I get, that we get at this life, right? So I want to dive into this today with you guys and go through, how to make the most of this gift that we've been given and how to make it count, right? So thank you for being here with me. For those of you that aren't already aware, my name is Wade Vincent, and you are listening to or watching the Forever Better Academy podcast on any of the typical podcast platforms, or YouTube if you're watching, or potentially even on foreverbetteracademy.com. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to give you something valuable for your time. Now, as I say, you got to live now, right? This is no practice run, right? Now, I think, as we go through our journey and the time that we've been given, we don't truly understand or know how much time we're actually given, right? And you see this every day, right? There's people that, I'm in my late 30s now, and already had multiple friends and close people towards me and loved ones pass away. And people younger than me, people my age, people older than me, and it really puts in perspective, because you don't understand, that there's no, even though there's a life expectancy, depending on where you live in the world, and I guess, the healthcare and lifestyle and diet, in the country that you live in, but there isn't any guarantee, right? And even if where you live, there's a life expectancy of 80 or 90 years old, our time comes at any moment. We don't truly know, right? You might be lucky to get 40 years. You might be lucky to get 20. Like, I had actually a phone call from a very close workmate that I'm good friends with from a previous role that I was in only a week ago, and one of the guys that we worked with from the business, but interstate, probably my age, got the call that he passed away, had a young family, and died from a melanoma. So had the skin cancer, and he's no longer here. And it's surreal to me, like this guy, had just started his family, had his wife, and they, had their home and career ahead of them, and then life's over. It's very hard to know, right? So I want to talk to this, and in a genuine and open way, because I think it's important conversation to have. It's a little different to some of the other conversations that we've had on previous episodes, but it's worth remembering this and always considering, ultimately, beyond all the productivity and all the success and development and growth, which all is encompassed in this life, But ultimately, bigger picture thinking today, right? What do you want from your life? What do you want to achieve with the time you've been given? Right? And as I say, right, we don't know how much time we have, so it's important to decide quickly and take actions that align with our goals, right? Align with our ambitions and what we want to get out of our lives, right? So, excuse me. As I say, life is not a practice run. You've got to live now, and this probably, I think the concept, I start to understand it, at least from my perspective, as I grow and mature in my life, and start to see that the sense of almost an urgency or a greater respect for the time that I've been given, let's say, right? So I believe everyone in this world is truly trying to make the most of what they've been given, right? Most people, whether you're super ambitious and you want to be a billionaire, or you're, just quite content with a loving family and a couple of children, and never having much to your name but feeling richer than anyone else because you have those people that love you around you. Like, we all have something that we strive for, something that we want to contribute to or experience or go through in our lives, where we feel richer and better for it, like our life was well lived, right? So the thing that I think bears consideration is you mustn't get caught in the trap, right? Now, when I talk about the trap, what I mean is it's so easy to get stuck in the daily routine, the habits that aren't necessarily those habits that are driving you forward, or you're improving because of those habits each day, but just the routines, the monotonous, the usual, every day, you wake up and you brush your teeth and you have your shower and maybe have some breakfast and see your loved ones off and head off to work, and then you come home and you're exhausted because you've been working hard providing for your family all day, and then you may sit down and have a little bit of quality time with your family and something to eat, and then to bed, and it's very, very easy to fall into that ease of routine, because it removes a lot of the stress and challenges in life if you just fall into that routine. It's like, that's why they call it a comfort zone, right? It's very easy to maintain that simplistic lifestyle, or habits that don't move you forward or give you a richer, fuller life from the experiences, right? Like, no one, I would say, I'd be very surprised, right, to think about anyone who would honestly tell you that that's fulfilling and enriching, going into, say, potentially a job that they don't enjoy going to day in, day out for the next 40, 50 years, right? And this is the shift we're seeing now. Like, I feel very blessed to be alive in the time that I'm alive in here with you guys, because in the past there was no freedom of choice and options that we have available to us now. Like, if you think back, where maybe, let's say, even 100 years ago, right? Maybe 150 years ago, right? If your father was a farmer and you were the eldest son, you were going to become a farmer. There wasn't Dad, I want to travel the world and become an artist. Like, that was so far removed from the dynamic of society at the time, right? Everyone really sort of had their lane or where they belonged, and that's where they were. Countless generations of families doing the same job, learning the father almost as a mentor to their son, and their son was an apprentice learning the family craft, the business, right? Now, if the first time in history that we have ever been in a position like we are now to have complete freedom, especially I'm talking in the developed world, right, to pursue anything we wish, even to the point where people are able to make a living off being creative and finding their passion and giving to others and making, funny videos or interesting content, or finally like with like NFTs, like, I digress, but on a side note of, it really looks like the timing for creatives to have their day in the sun. It's amazing to me. It's beautiful to see. I think people, as we shift out of the end of that industrial age, right, where people were really considered like machinery or expendable, where they were really just like a cog in the machine, right, where there was very little support and care for a human. It was just, you had a job to do, and you were a number, and no one really cared, right? Like, horrible times, right? But, thankfully we're in the position now where those things are changing, right? So all the more reason for us to make the most of this time that we're in, because we have the chance to do so, right? We're not, no longer, confined to a very small window of opportunity. There's many doors that you can choose from now, right? So that's what I say when I mean, like, not getting caught in the trap of, now that we have this choice, getting complacent and being lazy and just stuck in a rut, right? And just continuing with the same routine day in, day out, that doesn't move us forward and doesn't fulfill us. And I honestly, 1000% believe that so much of the struggles that we face today in society with mental health problems is because people aren't fulfilled. Right now, everything that challenges a person creates growth, right? And all the struggle and turmoil and torment that we all feel at times when we go through these frustrations and feeling like, there's times where you just can't get out of our own heads and carry on, right? I honestly believe those emotions, those feelings, those experiences are our bodies telling us to take action. We have to do something. We need to move. We need to get up, pick ourselves up. There's got to be a change, right? And I know in my experience, the things that have helped me to find joy and purpose and fulfillment again in my life was listening to that pain when I felt that something wasn't right, not staying in that realm where I'm at, that's causing me that discomfort, right? And every time that I catch myself feeling that way, I immediately snap back to realizing it's because I'm stagnating. I'm not doing something that I need to be doing, or I should be doing, that I know that I should be doing, that's beneficial to me, and like in the most blunt way I can say it, wasting my life, right? Like, and I can tell you openly and honestly, I've wasted a lot of years of my life, and I'm thankful that, God willing, that I have many more ahead of me. But I try to make the most of every day now, because I understand and value and appreciate what's truly been given to me. So the biggest struggle I have faced internally, and I think this is common amongst most of us in the world, is disbelieving our own true power, right? To achieve anything that our mind can conjure up, anything you can imagine, right? We limit ourselves. You know, it's it, it's it's a travesty. like the more I think about it, like the only limitation is ourselves, our mind, our imagination. Like are we going to strip ourselves of our own power? Right? Like I promise you, any truly driven or successful or amazing or just awe-inspiring person that you can think of, any single one of them, honestly, I have no doubt in my mind that they're exactly like you and I. No different at all. Only thing is that they, work hard, they've taken action, they've made the decision what they want to do with their life, they've committed to it with absolute certainty and gone all in, given it everything they've got. Right? Like, the it's like, there's so many of these sayings, and they become like trite cliches because you hear them so much, they lose the true value and meaning that they actually hold, right? Like, like saying leave nothing on the field. Like when you're in a when they talk about in sporting competitions, like sorry, I might have said that wrong. Leave it all on the field, perhaps. I might have mucked it up, but the sentiment behind it is really, when you're playing the game, you're in the game. It's the only time to put in everything you've got. You can't win the game when the buzzer's gone or when the whistle's blown. The game's done, right? Like you got to think about this, like, and hopefully this is like potentially a wake-up call for someone in the world. I know when I'm recording this, I know someone needs to hear this, and if it changes one person's life, then it's worth every second of my time to do so, right? So you got to go all in. There isn't any other game. You're in the game right now, and this is something that it took me a little while to really get my head around and learn. As I've talked about this in the past, but really, I shied away from society for a long time because I wasn't truly comfortable with who I was or what I could bring to the table, and I thought that potentially that I was clever or perhaps beating the system because I had figured out a way where I could be excluded from the herd, right? I had this ill-serving mentality where I believed I was different, and I didn't want to be like everyone else. And I think now that I'm a little older and I understand that it's a valid feeling to have, but I didn't understand how to translate that and utilize that, right? I just saw it as a way that, not that I made an excuse out of it, but I instead of doing something and taking action and stepping into my fear and owning that experience, I shied away from it. I wasn't ready to face that challenge, and because of that, I wasted a lot of time in my life, and I look at it like, even though I thought I was on the sideline, whether I liked it or not, I didn't realize I was still in the game. And that's a huge sobering slap in the face to me, to when you realize, like, whether you like it or not, you're playing the game. You're alive. You're breathing. You're here. You're in it. And you might not like the game, but you can make the most of it and play to the best of your ability and leave nothing on the field, or leave it all on the field. Apologies, guys. I'm bastardizing that saying. I'm not doing a good job of it, but you get what I'm trying to get across, right? So you cannot disbelieve in your own ability to achieve on a level that's as great as anyone else has ever achieved in their life. There's no, there isn't limitations. There aren't. Like, if you think, right, you imagine as a concept, right? Let's do like a little thought experiment right now. So if you sent someone like in a time machine from 500 years ago and you sent them to today, can you imagine what would run through their mind? Like how truly just like mind blowing that person would be, trying to even process every different unique thing that we take for granted that's available to us, even down to simplest things like clean running water, electricity, uh, like the cars that we drive, obviously our devices, the internet, computers, the types of cameras that we have in our phones. Like it just it'd be so hard to fathom that, right? And this is our reality, right? What you and I are experiencing right now is our truth. But if you tried to explain this to a person from 500 years ago, they wouldn't even know what you were talking about. They have no frame of reference to understand the experience that we're living, right? And think about where it could go. All of these things that we have available to us, every single thing was born out of somebody's imagination. A thought. Like something as simple as that, that we are all capable of. Every single one of us has that ability. Think, create, ponder, wonder. What could you achieve? What great thing can you bring to the table? How do you want to spend your time, right? How do we make the most of the connections that we have, the tools that we have available to us, the experience that we're going through? How do we enrich that? Why would you not want to enrich that? I think if you walk down the street, like go as an experiment, try this, right? Walk down the street and ask anyone that you go past, would you like to live a better life than you currently live? Would you like to have a more richer, more fuller version of what you have? I would be surprised if people told you they wanted a lesser life than what they have. And I think the reason that people would answer that in that fashion is because they, whether they want to admit it or not, they truly know deep down we're capable of that. You wouldn't desire greater things or chase your dreams or have ambition if you didn't believe if you didn't believe that it was possible for you. Right? Like truly think about that. Let that sink in. I know in my life, anything that I've gone after, that I've desired, is because deep down, I know that I can do it. I know I can achieve it. And most of the things, if not all the things that I personally chase and I'm looking to experience in my life, I'm not even the first person to do them. I don't even have to innovate or remake the wheel. I just have to copy other people that have successfully done it. The roadmap is there. If you've ever heard the saying, success leaves clues all around us. Anything you want, it's yours. Anything you can dream of, anything at all. The only limit is how powerful your imagination is. And it's like any muscle. It takes work. You got to use it, develop it, refine it, The more that, A great experiment that I used to do every day. I used to do was shared with me. It's basically like write a list of 10 ideas every single day. Doesn't matter what it is, how silly it sounds, how absurd, how outlandish or impossible that it sounds. Write it down. And I started to see new concepts come together, right? And just inventions or ways to improve things, or better solutions to difficult problems, challenging problems, right? Like the more that you develop this tool, this imagination that really shapes your reality, the better you are for it, because you can determine the kind of reality that you experience, right? Like, and it's so easy to overlook something like that as just that last statement. But what an incredible thing to actually consider. We all have the ability to shape the reality we experience. It's incredible. Like I often, and I am by no means a religious person. I'm not a fan of believing in a man-made story or creation that ultimately people hold on to so strongly that they hurt other people because of it. There isn't good in that, as far as I can tell. But when I hear the statement, the Spirit of God lives in us, to me, I understand that as the ability to create anything we desire. The Spirit of God lives in us. Like anything, even if it's on that small scale, there's an element, right? We are the universe. Like, we are made from the same materials, like, and we're conscious, we're here, we have this ability to do something with this gift. Whether we understand why we're here, it doesn't even matter why we're here, really. Like, the greatest philosophers have spent, eternity trying to determine it. But, is it better to figure out why we're here or have a hell of a time while we're here? You know what I mean? Like, do both. Spend it however you choose, but make the most of it. That's ultimately what I'm trying to get across with you guys. Like and to get back to the core of this is, any day could be your last, right? This is not a test run, right? And the more that I have this realization, and I want to share this with you guys because I know it's an important topic to discuss, right? You've got to plan. You need to plan what you want to do with your life, right? Don't say I'll start tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Tomorrow doesn't exist, right? Tomorrow is always out of reach. There is no tomorrow. We're not promised anything. So take the time, plan, write a bucket list, right? As corny as it sounds, like, and who cares if it's corny? Like, what does it matter what someone else thinks, right? In all honesty, like, this is your life and your experience that we're talking about, right? Write a bucket list, everything that you want to accomplish in your life. Plan it, write it out, because if you don't define what you want, you've already lost it. It's gone. It never existed in the first place, right? You haven't taken the time to create it. This is why, when people talk about manifesting and affirmations and taking that time to visualize and build this, you've got to make it real. And the only way to make it real is your thoughts have to combobulate and come together and manifest into reality. That's the process, right? It's energy, right? Where attention goes, energy flows, right? It's like the thing you ever think about, like if you're driving a car and you're always worried about having a car accident, right? What happens? You have an accident. I go, oh, I knew that would happen. I always have accidents. Like, because you're thinking about it. You're putting that out into the universe. You're constantly putting out the signal, right? It's energy. It's the transfer of that energy, that intention, right? All of this is like, it's creating the world you live in, right? People, the same kind of people that always, end up with a crazy girl or an abusive guy, because you're always thinking about it. Change your patterns, change your thoughts, change your behaviors, change your life, right? Now, make this bucket list, as I say, plan it out, own your destiny. It doesn't have to be this mystical, crazy thing. And maybe some of you listening to this think I'm already on some crazy mystical thing talking about this, but I tell you, this is my experience and this is how I understand it. And I see value in sharing it with you, because the reason my life has changed is because people shared the same kind of things with me and gave me guidance and the tools I needed. And my life has improved immensely because of it. And I want the same for all of you. So when you make this bucket list, plan out what you want for your life and start taking actions on those things on the list today. Don't write it and start tomorrow. You want to, let's say you want to become a skydiving instructor. Write it on your list. Jump on Google. Find out what it takes. Make a phone call. Start the process. If you are scared, even better. It means that you are challenging yourself and you're pushing and you're headed in the right direction. You have to have some fear behind it. It means that you're outside your comfort zone. As I said before, right? This is that moment when you feel that it's a signal. It's that emotion I talked about. Something telling you. It's I say to my sons, face your fears and they disappear. Only way. How do you conquer a fear? You don't conquer a fear by retreating, right? The only way to beat a fear is to face it, right? And you're ultimately going to feel better for it. No one who has ambition, and I guarantee most people you see on social media or who are highly ambitious, I guarantee they're scared and they're feeling overwhelmed and feel like, holy shit, I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. I guarantee you they're feeling that. We're all the same. We all feel the same things. That's why you can go anywhere in the world, all different cultures, and you can relate to other people, right? Can't even speak the same language, but you feel the same as them. You relate to them because you're the same. The experience is the same. It's a universal thing between all of us as humans, right? So take that time, write down, plan. If you don't decide what you're going to do with your life, nothing will come of your life. Right, so work on that today, and then, and this is back to that. As I say, the conflict of this is that life isn't endless, right? All the things that you want to achieve will only happen if you're taking action and working towards those things, and you're blessed with enough time to do everything it takes to achieve them. Right, so the sooner you start, the better. Tomorrow isn't promised. You've got to start now. Do this now, okay? And this is what drives a life well lived, right? I know more than ever the sense of urgency, as I said, in there's a million still amazing things I want to do, and it's so easy to become complacent and think, I've got 40 years yet of life. I'll find time to do it later. I don't know that. I could be dead tomorrow. This may be the last podcast. God forbid, that I ever speak with you guys. But I don't know. What I do know is that I do not want to be on my deathbed or too sick or unhealthy or unable to achieve things that I always wanted to do, and feel that sickening feeling in my stomach knowing that time's up. that I can never do those things. Don't end this with regret. Don't leave with regret. You want to be on your deathbed and think back and be proud and feel fulfilled and be like, that was one hell of a run, right? That was one hell of a run. You know? And you become the person you were meant to be, right? I talk about this all the time. Who could you become? This is how you become that person, right? Make the plan. What are you going to do with your life? Take action today. That's it. All right, guys. I hope that this has been powerful for you guys. This is a lot of these episodes. To me, it's really reaffirming the things that I'm learning and helping solidify the lessons in my own mind as well, and ensuring that I take action on these things, right? If you leave it in the comments. Share your bucket list with me. Inspire each other. Like maybe some of the things that you want to do that I would love to do too, and I've never thought about them, and vice versa. I'll put my bucket list in the comments on this video so you guys can see what I've got so far. And let's work on it together. If we're going to be afraid, may as well do it together and face those fears together, right? Power in numbers, strength in numbers. All right, guys, I thank you so much. This is Wade Vincent. And again, make the most of it. Tomorrow isn't promised, okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. And I look forward to hopefully speaking with you again next week. Thanks, guys.